She has
really the parents talking about what their kids get from it is great.
And
That is.
she has to be able to save.
And I don't get to hear this
Every
stuff
job that she does,
all the time either. So this is
We
great.
asked all the parents, have you seen benefits from this?
I love
that.
that. I want to
so-
watch those. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so goes her and then her mom.
Who might have a kid.
And like we
And then-
experimented because we were trying what is it like being on or off camera? But yeah, it's like really the CEO of the company or like the founder being on camera is like the way.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Well, we will send these to you
Love it.
in a Google Drive link.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then in terms of like we haven't done like a video edit for trade necessarily sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna set this right here. On the sunniest of days. So this is a podcast. Would you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Aloma Murray.
And you do a whole host of things. I mean, geez.
I always struggle with introducing myself just because depends on the day what I'm doing. But yeah, I guess I like to call myself a multi-passionate entrepreneur and have several projects and businesses that I work on.
I like it. Well, what are you focused on today? And really quick, I'll just have you reorient the mic.
Oh, yep.
And you don't have to move
leaning
to the mic.
back.
You can do it too. Yeah. I kind of walked in. I was getting some stuff, and Kenzie and you had some recent news.
Yeah, so we are scaling our digital accessibility software company, and so that's a big part of where my head's at and my work is right now is working on that. We just hired a bunch of new staff and implementing new software to organize and manage all the staff and the processes, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
What's it like scaling? Yeah, what's it like taking on money to grow faster? Like, it's something that essentially with clothes, I'm like, I went beyond my means. I'm like, whoa, this is an interesting place, but I'm not bringing on employees. So I'm curious what it's like bringing on employees,
Yeah, well, it's a new experience for us. Me and my husband are also business owners, or partners, I should say. We run the companies together, and we've always just done it ourselves, and so this is a new experience for us, taking on an investor and having that support, that financial support, to be able to hire employees that we really needed. We really needed those positions and those extra people, customer service, for example, project management, a couple more salespeople, and so it's really exciting.
Yeah, because that's like because I guess you didn't really explain it. You have a co-working space.
Yeah, what are all your businesses?
That's like kind of the way that we met you, and then that was
right.
With, just to touch on this one, just a question about it is like if you didn't scale, like that industry is growing, like there's other players, so like that's my assumption of like why you kind of went quick with it.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential for that. A lot of regulations are coming into play. The federal government just approved a huge, I forget the numbers, but Oregon alone, I think, just got $9 million towards digital accessibility. That also includes internet access. That's a big part of what they mean in terms of digital accessibility, internet access.
Rural access?
Yeah,
cool.
for internet. But a big piece of that is also having the government websites that everyone needs to access. Exactly. So that's definitely a piece of that puzzle.
Which is very different from co-working spaces.
What
are your other
exactly.
ones if you were to kind of go through them?
So we own 2 co-working spaces as well, and that's kind of been owning co-working spaces has been a great business for us because we are serial entrepreneurs, and it has given us community with other entrepreneurs. Huge, absolutely huge. And then also the ability to expand, take on more office space. That's what we're doing right now, which is really exciting. Cool. In our own co-working space, we're adding offices, which our other business pays for. So it's like an ecosystem that
that's
is supporting each other, which is great. when things are going great, or at least when one of them is going great.
It's nice that it can flex both directly. Like
exactly.
If you want your space for a while, you have it, and then if not, you can rent it out. Like that's a big luxury as opposed to taking on a lease at a place.
Absolutely. Or having to move your whole company just because you need a little more room, maybe, you know. So, co-working is really great for that. So we've had one of our co-working spaces for over 10 years now. And Eugene, like I said,
I mean, shout out.
Eugene Mindworks,
which is where I did my first interview with Rick Dancer.
Fun.
Yeah, I guess that's a different show. Yeah. For long-time viewers of a different show. That's funny.
And I mean, the magic of co-working is the community and the people that you get to meet. Just literally in the lunchroom yesterday at Nexus Eugene, which is our other spot.
Right next to Voodoo Donuts.
Yep. Nexus Business Lounge, sorry. The hashtag or handle is Nexus Eugene. But conversations in the lunchroom. We just got a new member. She's an artist. She wants to do some stuff for First Friday Art Walk, which we're big supporters of and we like to participate in. And so we're having a talk in the lunchroom about collaborating on some cool events and making some stuff happen. She was excited. We're excited. We're, combining skills and resources and so.
Do you find it hard to strike a balance between oftentimes I end up giving clothes, I'm finally getting over it where I sell clothes now, but I gave clothes to people because I'd befriend them, people are at your space and then you start talking about art walk. Is it hard to not blur the lines between and I mean, you're a serial entrepreneur who's far enough along that you probably have maybe boundaries more so than we're really early in it.
No, that is a real challenge, and I feel I've grown over the years to find a balance of that because I do love giving back and supporting other people, but you also, I can't pay the lease on the space or the electric with...
And then there's no art walk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you do have to, find some balance and figure out how you can give back in a way that isn't going to destroy your ability to give back and the thing you're trying to build. And with the co-working spaces, we've done some cool stuff over the years. We've, done a sponsored membership program. I used to have, at the beginning and for several years, I'll be honest, I really had a hard time charging people. And when we opened, our pricing was so ridiculously low. I was how did we think we could pay our bills with this?
That's so funny. Was it easier to find people or was it harder to find people with the low pricing? Because we're dialing in our pricing and that's part of the reason it's talking about the trade on air and just talking our logic through would just be great with someone who's you have experience doing this across many industries, it's
it's a balance. Especially with the co-working space, that's been that was kind of my first owning a business experience, and I learned so much through it. Having super cheap prices, very low pricing, sometimes we would end up with people that didn't have a lot of respect for the space, didn't care about being part of the community. We even had someone basically living in their office at one point. And
I feel it's kind of in the culture of people say, oh, you you sleep at your desk, so it's kind of it's easy to take advantage of that situation.
This was not that.
This is a cheap rent.
This was and somebody that was struggling with substance abuse, and so they started being very they would lock their office door to walk down the hallway to the lunchroom to get coffee.
Oh, wow.
And then
really paranoid.
And we were kind of this stories of co-working spaces. There's a lot of them.
You must have a million. Yeah.
But that was a difficult situation because she was obviously struggling with some mental health, substance abuse stuff, and when we could eventually get into her office, there was an air mattress and some drugs and alcohol in there that, there's like not business going on.
Yeah. But there was business going on with where we did do the trade, which is Sprout, which is helping kids kind of develop the skills that prevent them from ever being in a situation where they're like that.
Right. Hopefully. Yeah.
Because you got through your website, your co-working space, and then really, I want to go through kind of like, I remember you did a private or concealed carry. Like, I'm curious if you could just like go through all the kind of like, it'd be
your
fun.
business timeline.
This is a document.
Right.
This is a time capsule kind of.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, actually, I guess the concealed carry online training program actually came before Eugene Mindworks. So I guess Eugene Mindworks was like, I really took that on, like, with my husband as my business partner, but that was like my primary focus. And so I really felt like, that was like, for me personally, growing as a business owner, that was like the biggest growth that I had is in launching and running that. But the concealed carry, so when Shaler and I met, he had a small digital agency. So he was doing
like us.
Yeah.
Kind of? Really?
Well,
like wait, I guess we're not really a digital agency, but like
he was doing like online marketing, websites.
We're switching our names kind of potentially away from Good Marketing Works to Good Money.
We're thinking
like,
about it.
Productions, like we're because marketing as a term, it's very loaded.
Yeah. Well, and there's
it's just the conversation.
Could be a lot of things too.
Yeah.
Especially.
Like, So we're just tired of having the conversation. And it's like at the end of the day,
broad.
we mostly do
what are you?
photo and video.
What do you do?
And like, I mean, Emily Jensen's going to come back and I'm going to record a song for her. It's like just
that's cool.
anything to do with like more production. It's like, it's produced by Good Money or like, so moving away is speaking of agencies. So not to derail you too much.
Yeah. Well, this one was focused on, he was doing like online marketing, like I said, some offline marketing too, I think in the beginning, and building websites for people. And so we actually had a client that was doing in-person concealed carry classes locally, and Shaler was helping them with their website and realized that there were some states that you could do part of the training online. And so we partnered with them. They brought their certifications as skilled trainers.
Licenses and things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're good at concealing safely.
And they were very, very passionate about gun safety, which I appreciate.
That's great. Yeah.
And then we brought, the website, the marketing.
One of the biggest red flags in the world is someone's lax about gun safety. Like, I mean, that's like, I'm just like thinking, I'm like,
we're probably not going to hang out.
You don't even want to be around them. I'm like thinking about it. That's, so like someone who really takes gun safety seriously, I'm like, thumbs up.
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to get behind it otherwise. Yeah. But
just knowing it's more people in your community. Just like super like, you just you get
and I think there's there's a lot of gun owners that are very passionate about that, which I appreciate. It's a big responsibility. So
freedom in America.
But so we partnered with them. We did the website, the marketing, the production, video production. We hired somebody to do that, or I forget, did we do it? I mean,
so
we were just doing stuff. I mean,
so
we did product photography, like, we would just, figure it out, do it. And if a client needed something. And so that's how we got into that business. And that did very, very well. And we eventually sold that business. But that was
with the timing of the law changes, which is kind of what you're timing the law changes the other way with your what is it like?
Digital accessibility.
Accessibility.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. With your accessibility, you're like timing.
I mean, those. Yeah. If you're in a business that's affected by those things, it's important to keep that in mind. And with the concealed carry, there was some law changes around, how you could do the training. If you could do it if you had to do it in person, what was required. Some states went to you don't need any training.
Oh wow!
Which is I forget.
That's wild.
Constitutional carry, or I don't know. I think that's what they call it. It's like anyway.
It's like at the don't ask, don't tell policy. Like nobody sees it.
You don't need training to open carry.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to me.
It is crazy to me too.
Yeah.
I was like, why can we not have there's so much responsibility with owning a gun. I'm actually,
all the guns out there are airsoft, by the way. I don't know if you saw them.
I didn't even notice.
Oh yeah, they're up on the wall, and I'm like, I really don't know how many people. I mean, it's like an AK-47. It's like a
look kind of intense.
They look like intense real guns, but I'm like, they're just airsoft. Because I think I'm like, that's a big responsibility. Yeah. It's so loud, terribly loud.
Yes. But yeah, so we launched that. It was. That was super exciting. We did that without an investor. We had the tools to do it, and I credit Shaler's online marketing skills heavily for the success of that. Nice. There was also, not a lot of competition when we launched that too. So we scaled that business really fast.
Probably like Google AdWords back in the day, you could just be like, we want to buy all of the gun carry in Oregon, and like you could probably get it.
Whereas all that stuff. I don't know, but
nowadays it's so competitive, especially with AI, and AI can set up your ads for you. It's like it's like the arbitrage in. Like, it's simple to find this category and like spend a couple pennies to get. It's like it's gone and across everything. So that's why we're also moving away from more the things that are being taken over by AI, such as the ad stuff, and moving toward like, well, an AI can't hold a camera yet, like on a person. Like it can create a situation, but who knows? Yeah. We're just running kind of on the treadmill, and then this is the backup is physical goods.
Cool. I was thinking about that actually because we are actively, to stay competitive, looking to make sure that we're keeping up with tools that can keep us efficient. That includes definitely AI tools. But I was literally thinking about you guys because I was like...
Thinking about us?
Yeah. I was like...
Little old me?
Yeah. I was like, but AI can't come into the office because I was like, we have a budget to improve our advertising, and I haven't brought this up or suggested it yet to Shaler or the investor, but, I was like, I love your, what do you guys call them? The videos that you do, like showcasing the business.
With the founder?
Like an explainer video?
Or
because you know what?
Company.
I love explainer videos.
When I say digital accessibility, like 90% of people don't know what I'm talking about.
It took me I'm still kind of asking.
No, most people don't know.
Yeah.
And so... I was thinking about you guys and AI because I was like, well, AI can't do that.
This is a really interesting use case.
And talk to our staff or have our our auditors explain kind of what they're looking at, and have maybe Shaler explain what some of the tools do, or whatever.
That'd be nice. It'd be a situation like the first trade. The thing we did with you was with kids in an open air market, so it was very on the fly. I was like, okay, Kinsey and I didn't even say it's like, okay, she's gonna get the kid and I'm gonna get you. Essentially we're just like, okay, what are we doing? So in a situation
we kind of know
like
our
that,
spots.
We kind of know our spots, but then we can actually dial it in, which is a lot nicer doing it with
when you're in a controlled
adults.
set.
Totally.
And we're in the same city. We just got done with working in LA, where it's like, okay, we have this much time down here,
right?
And then we're done.
Gotta get all the right shots, right?
It's really different.
Yeah.
Speaking of AI and those kind of explainer videos, we ran across one of our ads organically.
Oh, cool.
Just yesterday, because he has AI make the ad. So they do sodium batteries. So he just did this is an investment opportunity.
Right.
And then it goes to a page where is this?
Oh, cool.
One of these is a video. Boom, boom, boom. So it plays our video. And let's go for just
That's AI though.
That's AI, yeah. And he just has white gold or different terminologies for what'll get people.
Yeah, he had an interesting marketing technique, but whatever works sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
I'm Jason, the CEO of Next Thing Technologies.
Nice.
We're focused on building sodium-ion cells, modules, and packs, primarily for the energy storage space.
And that was just an impromptu thing, but it was so cool to see it in the real world.
That is really cool. Yeah.
That was our test day of footage. We weren't...
that was when we were in LA.
Yeah.
That was one of the clients of the battery people who we went down to.
Nice.
So essentially doing it in Eugene.
Little meta.
Yeah.
Client of a client.
Yeah. But more than anything, it's the work we kind of have done for you is outside of our range, because interacting with kids on camera, the kids are cool. They're cool as can be. They're Swayzes. They're just jumping out of a helicopter.
Yeah.
They're great.
I was sweating.
Both of us. I'm we're kind of just how do you? And it's just
they're awesome.
It's a unique environment where I'm normally I know how to talk with kids like, oh, you know, playing, but I'm like, you're selling something. It's like a
right?
very unique situation. I'm like, so how long have you sold things for?
Right. It's like you're kind of having like an adult conversation with a child.
Yes. That was kind of what
you're
it was.
like, how does, yeah, they're awesome. I love asking them those questions, like what are you selling, and they get all excited to tell you about it, and
they love it. And so that's the other thing. And so I'm not going to list off all the ones, but we did got to Open Carry and then now to Sprout.
Sure,
does that round off the list, or like are there more?
Gosh, well, I run a couple vacation rentals also. Real estate. So real estate is another area that I work in.
She's a mogul, people.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. I'm
just kidding.
Okay, but
no, I have two vacation rentals.
Do you vacation at them very often? I'm curious. I mean, I'm curious as someone who owns. We've never owned a vacation rental.
Yeah,
I'd imagine.
Well, I mean, one of them we bought it because it's in Sun River, so
I've never been to Sun River.
What?
Kinsey, have you?
How long have
when
you
I was
been here?
8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't get out much.
Only like 2 hours away from here.
It's kind of by
That's
Bend,
a 2-day trek.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, we'd go to Bend.
It's
okay.
like 20 minutes south of Bend. Yeah.
Nice. So it's a good place, I assume, if you're going to buy a place there.
It's kind of a resort touristy town.
Much like the extra rentals, the office space that you can rent out or use when you need it. It's
exactly.
Wow. So you kind of take that.
Yeah.
It's a very similar thought process in different industries. Props.
No, I love coming up with businesses that are like add to my quality of life, my family's quality of life, and absolutely the vacation rental in Sun River has done that. The vacation rental I have here in Eugene it's actually on a family property that, we purchased it to give my mom. It was like my mom, my grandma, and my mother-in-law all live on this property. My grandma just passed, but that was part of the goal of buying this property was that my grandmother couldn't take care of herself. She had a horse, a dog, and a cat. And, she's used to living off grid by herself. And she was like 80. And then, she couldn't be doing that anymore. So we found this property that had multiple units and 10 acres. And so she could have her horse and her other,
Do you now take care of the horse? That's
my mom.
Yeah, that's
my mom
great,
does. Yeah. So my mom inherited a dog, a cat, and a horse. For the last 6 months, she's primarily been taking care of them anyway. Nice. But
so to kind of extract and go back to Sprout, like that was a nice little tangent.
Okay.
If you're okay with it, it's kind of breakneck speed. But I'm like, I'm more or less. You're not looking at a clock. I'm looking at a clock. I'm like, she's got to go in exactly 25 minutes.
I felt like it'd be kind of far if it was like behind Tiger on that shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can look at the temperature though. I don't know the temperature.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's important.
So yeah, Sprout, you're essentially giving kids the tools to be capitalists at an early age and say essentially.
I don't like to say that, but
like essentially just like free trade, like you can make something of value that people will willingly pay you for. That's such a powerful.
Yeah.
Like I'm still kind of coming to grips with like,
and so I'm a big fan of unschooling, homeschooling. My kids are actually all in public school right now, but we've done all kinds of different, learning paths.
Bandwidth with multiple businesses.
And so, but one of the things that I feel like is missing in public education is the introduction of being an entrepreneur. I didn't even know what that was really, but it is the thing for me. Like it gives me so much room to be creative and
there's always a
problem solve. I love problem solving apparently.
It does feel good when the problem gets solved.
It does, yes.
If it gets
but I like the
long.
challenge of it, you know?
Yeah.
When it's all computer-based, there's not enough dopamine.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, so, like, essentially you have community-based, you have a lot of physical, like,
that's true.
ones mixed in. You have the digital one's the most recent one, but it seems like you're working with teams of people, so it's bringing it kind of back to the more physical.
I can get up off my computer and be doing, productive things,
you stayed in the real world whilst, like, scaling and, like, being an entrepreneur, which is hard in today,
Yes. Yeah, I do appreciate the mix. Yeah. But I wanted to create.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I wanted to create something I mean, honestly, a lot of times I'm creating things that I wish existed, which is what entrepreneurs do, right?
Yeah, totally.
So, so I was like, gosh, I wish my kids could have this opportunity. And then, what if I make it available to other kids? Because, gosh, there's not a lot of,
I can't even think of anything.
Even just an introduction to the possibility of this pathway of being an entrepreneur.
You'll learn after you're 18. Good luck.
Yeah,
that's
on your own.
Yeah,
maybe
on your own,
if you stumble into meeting someone or reading a book or something.
Seriously.
Online article, I guess, is more.
Or podcast.
Right, exactly.
Like what we consume really does shape who we are, especially at that young age. So.
Yeah, but if you don't even know what that is, really, I mean, what does that mean?
It's a big jump too when you're like an adult and you have bills to pay and like.
Oh yeah, exactly. So when you're a kid, you can kind of explore. It's a great way for kids to explore what they like.
And no one's mad at kids. You made this, or like, I'm gonna need to get a refund from this kid. It's like it's very easy mode, lightweight.
Exactly. People want to support you. It's exciting. It feels good. They can learn about, like we were just talking about earlier. Maybe you really like making magnets, for example.
I do.
Or artwork.
You remember me with magnets, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Forgot about
funny
that.
example. I'm magnets and cotton and video editing.
I use that example because my youngest, when she was 4, that was the first year we had Sprout. And I was like, what can she make at 4? And so we put some of her artwork onto magnets.
Nice.
And it worked.
I magnet everything. I mean, you can see the scissors are right there, too.
He's a big fan.
Love it.
I just put magnets on
Okay,
I literally magnets are like.
It's like for organizing. I didn't really think about it.
Then it's not in a drawer.
Great.
It's like it's because I'm
right
like
there.
often I'm laying out clothes here. And it's like I just want to do
grab
a little
that.
So.
But so it gives kids the opportunity to explore what they might like to make. I mean, my kids have made. Most years something different than the year before.
Don't get them into cotton. It's an addiction. It'll just keep going. Yeah.
But and then they get to do, a lot of the process of having a business is, they're creating a product.
It's gonna feel comfortable.
They're gonna go sell it
later in life.
Speak to customers,
which is such a great skill for youth to have. Yeah, not feel. I mean, a lot of them are feeling shy and nervous. Some of them, no, not at all. But for a lot of them, it's really good practice.
Oh yeah.
And
they're almost all. They're all like B2C. The one girl who does the animal care, it's kind of like more of like a service based rather than just like a product.
But she did have some products. I noticed later that she did have some products.
Yeah.
We're realizing that we're essentially a B2B company. It's just that's so heady and long.
That's good to know.
It's a big realization. So
absolutely.
Essentially, the kids like come in at like an easy just sell, and that's why it's like the clothes. It's like nice because I do sell them. And I'm like, wow, it is really easy compared to getting a video client, and then you're in a relationship with them as long as you're working.
Right.
It's
absolutely.
Like just kind of being like nice.
Yep.
Enjoy that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for sure.
You kind of had a whole range, but one of the ones that you're kind of doing is the co-working space. You have like people all up in your business. Literally
kind
all
of
up in
a
your
product
business.
and a service.
Totally.
It's a little combo.
Yeah. And we, especially with Nexus, because we do have the arcade lounge, it's kind of been fun because the co-working spaces are generally B2B. But with the arcade lounge, we're renting it out for birthday parties and stuff too. Nice. So we get to kind of have a little fun with that and get different people in the space.
Cool.
We're actually sponsoring a birthday party for a couple girls. The mom had just reached out to see if she could get any help, like throwing a party. They're turning 13 and 18, and I mean, she didn't reach out to me personally. I'm in a lot of groups where people ask for help for different things, and I saw her
where
post.
Where are these groups? Just out of curiosity.
On Facebook. They're Facebook
nice.
groups.
Cool.
Yeah, there's one like Lane County Mutual Aid or something like that.
It's good to just know where these loops are.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always looking for little
people who are up to help. It's like that's cool.
Yeah. So we're actually gonna. It's been amazing. I love it when things like this happen because I said, "Hey, would your girls want like a birthday party at our arcade lounge?" She was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, that would be amazing." So then I put it out to my network, And now they're going to have pizza. Somebody's ordering them pizza for their party. Somebody's doing their hair before the party.
Oh,
awesome.
And someone else.
We can come in and take a quick photo.
Someone else is going to set up a photo booth.
Nice, cool.
Like a little instant, photo booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, you get it right there.
Yeah.
Nice
yeah.
score.
So it's been really fun to have that. That's not necessarily B2B, just because, it opens things up. And
you seem to feed your soul a lot. Between Sprout and, that's a good example of it. Yeah. It's like, that's a great place to be.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, so I finally created a Facebook group called The Giving Project.
Oh, cool.
I've been very anti-create a Facebook group because I don't want to manage it.
Yeah. We deleted our Facebook page recently. We have our personals, but our business one.
It takes a lot of effort to run any sort of digital
A business
groups.
page on Facebook is like,
and it's for the website. And then it's like, are we checking the messages there? It's like, whoa, slow the roll.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I'll join the group or follow the page.
Yeah, it's really fun. If you're interested and I like to just watch for those posts that I'm like, oh, I could do something for this person. And so I don't know if we're friends on Facebook, but we should be, and I will add you to the group because we also do. I was excited to create that because I also do a regular annual project called Bless a Mom, where we go deliver gifts to moms that have been nominated, and the group will just give me somewhere to keep everyone organized. But it also is a place where I can say, hey, and this is what I did with this scenario is hey, I have these two girls, they have kind of milestone birthdays this month, and mom is not in a position to do much for them to make, she was asking for some help to make it extra special. And boom, we've got, all these people pitching in different ways.
Cool.
And,
cool.
And it's just good for a community to
it's good to see and just
that reverberates. Really, it does. Essentially it's just the mom and the kids will have such a positive association with the community. And it's just going forward. It's
feeling supported and
then when they're in a position where they can help with a super odd end of their specific life situation, it's no, that really just showing. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it aligns with a very foundational value of mine of we all have something that we can contribute, and it's really powerful. Giving back is important, but I think it's even more powerful when it's something that you feel really good about sharing, and maybe it's a unique skill or resource that you have. So the Arcade Lounge is definitely a unique resource that I have that I can offer for this scenario. I got so excited about it. I was like, I should do this more often, sponsor birthday parties for kids that can't, can't really have a whole lot going on.
Arcade Lounge is
fun.
Super sweet.
Yeah, and it's all free play, so they don't have to bring any money to play the games too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something where it's wow, that's a lot of overhead to have the kids come party.
Right,
it's
exactly.
They get food from somewhere around.
Or find someone to sponsor the food. And
also finding creative ways to use the space, because you also have the downstairs that you're kind of coming up with some creative ways to use.
Yeah.
We hosted the art walks there and stuff.
Yeah, yes. We are really hoping to find a long-term tenant for that, but in the meantime, we have had some fun art shows and stuff. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So now to bring it all back to what we've done so far. So it's we feel good also kind of doing stuff like that. When we kind of initiated the trade, we don't really have anything. We don't really want it oh, we really want that Airbnb for a day. So
right.
We were more doing it for two reasons. One is we really realized we're going to start doing a 10%. Anyone who gets us a job, you get 10% cash of that gig. So just kind of, clearly you're a mover and shaker in the Eugene community.
Well,
you have more community building than almost anyone I've talked to. In a recent light, I'm just that's so thank you for being I
don't know how you manage it all, honestly. It's really impressive.
I don't know either. I mean, I like what I'm doing, I guess.
That's
and so a lot of it doesn't feel draining,
Yeah, I do get that.
Yeah.
Community is just a hard, tricky thing to I've never. It's what is it, wrangling cats? Where it's it's just dealing with so many interpersonal relationships. Essentially, I'm you could almost have a master. It'd be fun sometime to when you have more time, do an interview of just what are your what are big realizations have you come to just with dealing with people. in such a way where you continually have a positive outlook, where you're taking on engaging with people.
Right.
And it's like, some people would be negative, like, oh, I don't want to hold a birthday party. What if one of the kids hurts themselves, and then I'm getting like, there's so many ways you could go negative.
Totally.
You've managed to keep a positive world outlook.
Yeah.
Throughout, I mean, so many. So I'm like, you have some secrets in there. Like, it really would be, writing a book takes way too much time. But like, it would be,
She did do that too this last year.
I wrote a chapter in a book. Yeah.
So
just came out. It's called Women of Purpose, Creating a Better World. So my chapter is all about what's called the transformative power of kindness. So it's all about giving back, and the way that energizes both the giver and the receiver.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of my story and how my life turned around. Real quick.
Go into it. Yeah. No, not real quick.
So
a big part of my life. Don't rush. This is the one where you take time.
Well, I didn't know if it was, what you want for the podcast, but
we don't really have anything to get to.
Okay.
Yeah, we have no agenda.
But it's a big part of my story, and like I said, my life turning around, I feel like. So I was a single mom, left a very unhealthy marriage, and came back to Eugene from Las Vegas, sleeping on the floor at my mom's house. She wasn't in a position to really support us, so I was trying to figure out what to do. It was me and my 2 little kids. My
roughly
youngest was 9 months, and they're like 16 months apart, so they were both very little. And so it was in that period, in that season of my life, where I felt like I had the least to give. I was like trying to leave an abusive marriage, taking care of 2 toddlers, just moved back here,
deal with your
there's all this emotional stuff, and then figuring out what am I going to do with my life. I've got 2 little kids, and I didn't finish college at that point, and so but it was in that season, which I feel like, was so powerful for me, I got this idea, and to start a community photo, portrait project called the Free Photo Project. I ran that project for 10 years. It was an amazing experience. And it was what I learned out of that was just this. It was so empowering to me, especially in that time of my life.
Give, but of all the things you're doing, wow, it energizes the giver and the receiver.
But I was so energized by it. It was awesome. So amazing. I had a little point and shoot camera, and I knew the neighbor worked at Centro Latino, a nonprofit that does all kinds of good work and in the community. And so through talking to her, I was able to go over to Central Latino. It was around Christmas, and I photographed maybe 3 families, with my little point and shoot camera. And I forget if I hung up a sheet for a backdrop or something. It was or maybe we just found a good wall that was decent, kind of thing. And then I went and had the photos printed. I had found some photo frame greeting cards at the thrift store for 75 cents. A pack of them.
Awesome.
So I put them in the photo frame cards and presented them to the families, and it was I'm doing this. This is so it felt so good for everybody. They were so happy, even though I wasn't a professional photographer. I wasn't really a photographer. I love photography, but this was when
you created emotional value for people who you're interacting with,
it's really nice to have a really nice framed photo.
And this was before, now cell phone, well, I guess not everyone can afford a nice phone with a nice camera on it either, but this was before cell phone cameras were terrible. The digital camera photos were man, it was
and there's no cloud, so they all just died if your phone died. That's the thing that I'm saddest about, is that I have none of the photos I ever took prior to Google Cloud and Apple's Cloud. I'm I wish they could have been saved.
And even if you do, even these days, I feel that I don't run that project anymore, but I still feel
there was something so special about taking you guys probably know, I mean, can relate to this, right? It's like snapping a selfie or having someone help you pose, maybe give you props, and, you know, give you that moment to have a special photo taken. It's very different than trying to snap a selfie yourself or whatever. Definitely. And so, and, you know, back then, like I said, the phone cameras were not even an option.
So I'd love to show. So I did this when we were at Sprout. I had a spare minute and Paint with Alejandro. He was one of the booths there. So instead of a photo, so I made this video. I told him that I have it, but rather than just email it to him, I want to go and like share it in person. But more or less, like, this is me. This is my giving project. This is like just one example of it. So it's a 1-minute video. I'm curious.
Great.
I'm Alejandro, and I'm with Art with Alejandro, and this is for everyone. It's art for everyone. So I'm getting ready here for a painting class. So it's painting for all ages and all skills, and you can also sip if you want.
I love that.
I'm located in the Fifth Street Market, in the Fifth Street Alley area, just right across from like Cafe Yam and Heritage. Oh, both, yeah. So I have gallery on the walls from me and from other local artists, plus you can come and paint yourself. Or you can come commission like a portrait or mural or anything like that. Yeah, so they can just go to artwithalejandro.com and then you'll see all the info there. Favorite piece in here? Oh my God, this is more of my stuff. I say maybe this tiger. I like that tiger.
Legal names. I'm like.
Are you serious?
That's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, so as I'm like painting, I'm like recording, and then they can see a close-up up on the screen there if they want to check it out. So I'll zoom in and out, you know.
For the class.
Yeah, for the class, yeah. But then I also make these videos, you know, when I get time to edit them, and then I post them on YouTube or, you know, TikTok or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because I'm like, I love video in the same way that it seems like you got energized with photo. So I'm excited to share that. And more than anything, awesome. I'm just like, there's a lot of businesses that it's hard to explain, or like essentially I'm just like, one video like that could mean, and like not every business knows how to implement it. Like like really it's just about text, like using it to like in any way.
Even just having someone behind the camera like supporting you and like helping you get like
and asking really you questions that you might be like, what do I say?
Because I wasn't mic'd, that's why I did like but essentially I want to give that to him and just be like, if there's any way like you could connect us with the people of Fifth Street, or just like we want to go around and just like we could do it to all the businesses, you know. So just like because that's really simple. Like once you get to 2 camera angles, or it's like a 5-minute kind of cohesive story with multiple, then it's like, okay, this is work. But like a 1 minute with one person, it's like those can be done
easy.
In just
very powerful though. Not
I feel like that explained it really well.
I mean, I think explainer videos are like the most versatile piece of content, because you can have it on your socials, you can have it on your website, you can send it in your newsletter.
That's what videos really for, is relaying information. That's the one thing. It's like you've explained it a million times to people, or it's hard to explain. It's like,
especially for businesses that have like either a lot of services or it's like kind of a complex like issue. That's where I've seen it be like, I just love video for that.
And so, I mean, we're kind of doing that for Sprout, but it's also kind of like a slice of life documentation of what it was like. You just go, we got a little intro of you. And essentially, if we switch the camera, so these are just some thoughts. Switch the camera angles, just kind of like quick, and then you can cut out sections from there. Because then the whole other day, it's the kids and the parents' interviews are back to back. It's like picking out which sections and like, because socials content is short, so really you're picking out like, and just do you feel comfortable cutting, like just essentially taking a snippet out of something? I'm more or less just curious, like
if you send me the stuff,
cool.
And actually my VA, I might ask her, because she's historically not had any. I try to have her do some virtual assistant. So she's not had very much video skills, but I need her to be able to
take stuff I give her and put together a quick reel or whatever.
And it'll be super, and like the switching camera, like I won't give you two that are synced up. That's why I'm like, I'll just spend the time and just run through it and just switch the camera angles.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, you have the whole story, but really it's like, oh, you don't need to know what nonprofit the kid's donating money to, so you can skip, like, you know, it's like you could craft it into, but essentially that'll be as a documentation of what Sprout was like in 2024. Plus just like, because that's enough for some parents to watch and be like, oh, I want my kid to be involved.
Totally.
So it's like, it's really hard to like know who's watching the video, because anyone could be watching it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely.
But if, you know, in the future we do something with one of your other companies that's so much more clear cut of like, oh, you want a specific action from a specific demographic that really needs this service. Sprout's like this kind of head case of like, we're not targeting the kids, we're targeting the kids. I know. You know, it's
more the parents.
But it was fun. It was fun to like film, you know, because we tried our hand at interviewing kids. You did the best, and having like
the kids are you
crushed it.
Well, I've done it a few years now.
little help.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I mean, so thank you very much for coming on the show. We still have 15 minutes.
Pleasure.
Essentially, I'm not pushing you off. I want to say, you know, I've been kind of like railroading us into like, and then me randomly. I don't have an agenda. Clearly has an agenda the whole show. I just don't know what it is.
That's fine.
But yeah,
I get it.
If you have any other kind of like things, like 15 minutes on, like, you know better than me. Like, what do you feel like are some things that, you know, it's like in a non-self-aggrandizing way, like I'm asking, you're not just being like everyone should know this, but like what are the things that you really kind of distilled and learned from all these different businesses, that it's like, what do you find value in, what do you think, like, I'm curious. Even what direction. I'm not, you know.
I mean, I think I touched on this already. I mean, the fact that I didn't know what an entrepreneur was growing up, or really had any introduction to being a business owner as a possibility. I think that's a problem. I mean, it's tragic.
So let's bring you back in the story.
Because
you did the photo project.
Yeah.
You don't know what an entrepreneur is? Am I correct?
Well, I didn't connect that with being an entrepreneur at all, but it definitely totally is.
Can we resume the story that I interrupted for that video? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Yes.
We're
so you're
like
doing
the photo project?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're doing photos, but you weren't planning to be an entrepreneur at that time, correct?
No, and I definitely didn't see that as an entrepreneurial endeavor, but definitely looking back, I was being an entrepreneur for sure. And so I photographed a few families at Central Latino. That was my first event, and then I was like, I need to keep doing this. And so the next place I went was the First Place Family Shelter, which as a child I had experienced staying there, and so it was kind of meaningful to me to go back there and share this with them. Again, just took my point and shoot. I did put up a sheet for a backdrop for that one, and I think that was I think I had a printer that could do photos.
Fun.
So I'm pretty sure that was the first event where I had a printer on site, and that was kind of the model that I built. From then on, I got family and friends to pitch in so that they would help me buy ink, photo paper. Eventually I had, thanks to my grandpa, he bought me a backdrop stand so I could set up legit backdrop stand. I went to like a material store in Springfield and got like a big piece of white material. That was my backdrop,
White material.
I know. Those are actually not my favorite photos, believe it or not. Some of my absolute favorite photos. So I ended up doing, I'll get to that in a second, because what I ended up doing was I did end up having like regular events that I would set up at. I would partner with, there used to be a big event at the fairgrounds called Homeless Connect, I think, and it was a huge event where services would set up. People could go there and get I think they could even get like simple dental work done. They could get their bike fixed. They could get sleeping bags. It was a huge event that used to happen at the fairgrounds. So I went and set up a photo booth there, and that was like, I think that was the first event that Shaler worked with me on. We actually met because of the free photo project.
Oh,
really?
Right?
Oh my God!
I forgot to say that detail.
So you're doing the most meaningful thing you could have been doing in your entire life, like forming that lifelong relationship, just by going and doing free photo. When you're in a position not to give anything, but you got energy from it, so you were doing it, and that led to literally. Oh my God! So not to rush you, but it's 2:07, so you have about 8 minutes left to get the story somewhere as a wrapping up a partial bow place. Yeah.
So. I mean, there's another example. It changed my life. It changed the energy that I had for life. I mean, as a single mom with 2 little kids, it was like, this is a really exhausting place to be.
I'm exhausted with no kids. I literally, I'm like, I don't actually know how you did that.
And so, the emotional aspect of figuring out, like, I didn't want to get back into an unhealthy marriage. I had a lot of, baggage and family patterns that I needed to look at and consider and try to overcome. But this project really, I mean, okay, I met my husband. We've been together 14 years now.
You laughed us. We're exactly. 7 going on 8, so you're 14.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A little more than laughing, but yeah.
And
double.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So met my husband, connection through doing this project. I also ended up getting pretty much a full scholarship to go back to school.
Awesome.
As a single mom. I definitely think that the free photo project, when I went for my interview, I mean, my application looked good. I had a decent GPA. But when I went for the interview, I was so excited about what I was doing and talking about it. And the interviewers were, I mean, that's what they wanted to ask me about. They were like, what is this project that you put in your application? And what, and so I credit that for getting the scholarship also.
Wow.
I mean, it's like a ripple effect. It's so powerful. I mean, I was beaming when I talked about this project, and in the place with everything else going on in my life, I mean, I was beaming.
Yeah,
like,
that's wild.
Literally talking about videos, what got us hired at Arcimoto.
Yeah.
And now I'm on Cotton, which is like, it doesn't have as much crossover with every single business like video does.
Yeah.
Video is a matter of time till I met someone like Mark.
Right.
We moved in next door to the CEO of a publicly traded company.
Right.
When we were 22. Yeah. It was like, he just saw it. It was just so great. And then immediately following that, the nonprofit, a similar situation. We didn't move in next door to him, but like a similar situation where you just saw the energy.
Right. And when you're excited about what you're doing, people want to be around that. And so, so I credit, this.
And you still have that. That's why I keep inviting you to come on the podcast and stuff. Essentially, I'm like, you have the energy. Like you have.
I'm excited. I am excited.
You're not pessimistic. Like you have an optimistic view toward community.
Absolutely.
And it's just like it's not like rare, but it's essentially like that should be like valued, and it's it's a moth to a flame. It's magnetic. It's just like
absolutely
So it's cool.
Yeah, and I think these giving projects like Bless a Mom, like the birthday party, people get excited to be a part of something like that, and so it's just it's like a ripple effect. Like I said, it's like people are excited. They have the thing that I like about these giving projects too is it's like a very specific thing. So the person with a photo booth, they have a photo booth. They do that as a business.
That's great.
And so they're like, well, I have all the stuff. I could set up a photo booth for these people, and it feels good to them.
Yeah.
They'll probably get some promotional stuff out of it.
It's so clean cut if they have it. Because like us with all the videos of the parents and the kids, it's like, are we going to communicate with each of them individually? We set up like the thing. So it's essentially, we don't have that smooth, like ironed out yet for video, because video is so much more in depth. And it's like photos, funny enough, we're doing Scorpion Creek Ranch. We're going to go photo the event that Katie Brown is putting on on the 23rd of this month.
Great.
You've been talking about homeless.
I've been meaning to follow. I I thought I was following their updates, but I don't know where to get them.
Yeah,
but
she has a big event on the 23rd.
Excited.
I'm sure. Like, if you just gave her a call out of the blue and be like, Tiger said, like, she would be more than happy. Like,
are they doing like a fundraiser?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a lot of people are going to be there. It's
awesome.
Like, it's a big event. So
good. I'm glad to hear that that's moving along well. Yeah, I love her vision for
when
that.
I met her, I didn't really do clothes, and she was Katie Brown LA.
Right.
She had clothing, and now I do clothing, and she's on the, so it's really funny, just the crossover. But these long-term relationships that you can build with business being the bridge that creates the opportunity to reconnect with. I mean, just yesterday we were trying to get pigeons to come over to our house instead of over there, and Nick Allen called. So he's the head of digital mental health at the U of O.
Okay,
he was one of the first people to come on the podcast.
That's amazing.
Head of the psychology department at the U of O came on, and he's been on a couple times. I'm like, that's so cool. That
is so cool.
Just starting those relationships with people where it's like there's some sort of mutual benefit, and that's why it's like we want to, like, whatever it is, like, you had, like, I'm glad the opportunity for Sprout came up. No, it's not like a thing where it's like that's gonna bring you revenue ever. It's like you're farming good karma. Like,
totally.
Absolutely. So it's like, but it's a good opportunity to show mutual excitement toward. If Eugene's a better place, we all benefit.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think you guys have that like excitement too. Like That's great.
We've been worn down with video over time. We've had some things where it's like 7 different people are giving feedback on a video, and it's like, after a while,
oh, that's rough.
You get a little bitter with video,
of that
but
with website. I mean, we're not doing websites anymore for a reason.
Yes, so much like that. With these technical, you're staring at a computer. I'm not talking to the person the whole time.
Right.
I never get worn down that. But like, the person tells me something, and then I'm like, that involves 8 hours of looking at a computer.
Right.
They communicated the wrong, or a different person actually,
and then they're like, no, actually,
I like it the other way.
We can get like worn down a little bit, but then opportunities like this where it's like, we've never filmed kids at an event like this. It's just opportunity for trying new things.
That's great.
And open, like, I like when people are open-ended with like, well, you at the beginning you're like, okay, well, I'm going to trade exactly this much, so do that much. It's more open-ended of like, come film this. And it's like,
I just, as long as I want it to feel good, right? Like,
that's what we want.
I've done tons of trade, and I've done trade situations where ended up not feeling great.
Ooh.
Yeah. But, and so, I mean, you just said open-ended, which is going to be contradictory to what I'm about to say, but, most of the time I feel like it's really important to have like
Kenzie wanted to dial it in. That was like Kenzie's number one thing. Kenzie's like,
very clear guidelines, but
and I
do think open-ended can work if you have good communication, right?
Yes.
So if you guys say,
it's an opportunity for communication.
Gosh, I really feel like we did all this work. We want our some trade value back for it. I would be like, of course.
Totally.
Like,
and that's why we stopped
what would feel good for you guys?
Totally.
You know what I mean? And usually when I do a trade, it's like, gosh, I've traded all kinds of things. Tattoo, fur, stay at the Sun River house, like. But it's very clear. It's
a tattoo on you? You have a tattoo that was paid for by someone staying when you. That's
nice.
That's great.
Right?
That's like,
I love trade.
Getting creative.
That's like free market capitalism at its most pure form is I have something, you have something.
Yeah.
It's just straight across, no taxes, right? That's beautiful. Yeah. So thank you for kind of sparking that. It's 2:15 on the dot.
Yeah. Okay.
So thank you so much for coming on the show.
But thanks, you guys.
This is a true joy.
I really do look forward to working with you guys again. I hope we can. We're onboarding all these employees, but once that's done, I want to talk to, I want to talk to the team about doing some explainer type of content because, man, it is needed. It is really needed.
And we could do a eat what you kill style model with getting people to the Nexus. Like as an for getting people, like, obviously this is just like throwing it out there, but like if you don't like want to like commit to anything, it's like we've never done an eat what you kill style model with people, but it's essentially it's like if it's like, okay, we brought in this many people, like, just some percentage of that or some way of like making it where it pays for itself. It's like we're looking to develop those sort of so because then we have a system, then we can take it to other people, but it's like developing that system is its own little tricky. And you're great to communicate with, which is the right time to do it. So thank you.
Well, let's keep communicating.
We'll wrap it. Thank you ever much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much,
having me.
everyone.
Bye-bye.